I mean,
Can you guarantee that this process will lead to Assad's departure?
let me go back up here because there's a lot you just
No, it's
asked. But
pretty straightforward.
no,
Can you or can you not?
let me get there, Matt.
Okay.
The goal is a whole, unified, pluralistic, non-sectarian Syria. That's the goal. And everybody, I say everybody, and Arshad gets on me. The members of the ISSG, if you look at the communiques, have agreed to that as the end state. And the ISSG has also agreed that it is far preferable to get to that goal through a political process instead of a military one, and that the Syrian voices need to be heard in that process, and that this has to lead us to a government inclusive and representative of the Syrian people, which cannot be Assad.
Yeah, where is that, though?
I'm getting there. So you asked me, the first question you asked me is, why isn't it in there? And the answer is because not everybody agrees.
Exactly. Well, I knew the answer to the question, but I want to.
Then why did you ask me?
Well, because I want to go back to the discussion that was being had yesterday. You guys are signing off on an agreement that does not guarantee or even mention what one of your main policy goal, what you claim is your main policy goal, right?
Well, in the work of bringing 20 participants together, you know this better than me. I know you know this better than me. When you're trying to drive to a conclusion, a very specific one, you got to start broad.
Right.
And so in Geneva, way back in 2012, and then of course we move forward to Vienna. If you look at the first communique, very, very broad, not as many participants. The second Vienna communique, more specific, more participants. And now, here at the third gathering of the ISSG, if all goes well tomorrow, we'll end up with a UN Security Council resolution with, more solidification. So, not everybody is unified about the future of Assad inside the ISSG. That comes as no surprise, I'm sure. And we understand that. What's important for the United States at this point in the process is that we keep driving towards the ultimate objective, which is a Syrian government away from Assad towards inclusiveness and representative of the Syrian people. And we understand that there's an awful lot of work that still has to go to get to that goal. And one of the key issues still outstanding is the future of Assad. And not only how long does he stay, but in what capacity does he stay? All that work still needs to be done.
Right.
And it is still, but don't mistake U.S. policy and U.S. objectives with the objectives being sought more broadly by 19 other participants. You can expect that not everything we may want to see in every way we want to see it is going to be reflected in the broader context.
I get it, but what you've just said is what you won't get agreement on is how long he stays and what position he'll be in as he stays. Correct?
I didn't say
the key word is stay.
I did not.
And
hang on.
My point is it really your belief that Assad has to go? Is that not more of an aspirational thing than it is a policy thing that you can actually bring about?
I think it could be both. Something can be aspirational and still be your policy.
Yeah,
Our
but
policy
then
hasn't
you would have to conduct yourself in a way that led to your aspiration going high. You're helping rebels who are not fighting Assad. You're
but
agreeing,
are fighting ISIL.
Right, but your goal here is to get rid of Assad.
There's two issues inside Syria.
Yeah, but one of them is to get so your military assistance, such as it is not going to further your policy of getting rid of Assad.
Because our policy is there has to be a political solution, not a military one.
When the secretary came into office, his entire point on Syria was that you had to change the calculation for Assad on the battlefield. Change to do things that change his calculation. That has not worked. He's still there. His calculation hasn't changed. You're signing on to a Russian plan, am I right? That says nothing about Assad. Correct?
I think I'd take issue with some of what you just said, but there's so much in there. So, look,
Well, how about the part about,
hang on a
does it
second.
mention Assad? I like that last question. Does it mention Assad
And I will,
in the resolution that you plan on signing tomorrow?
I'm not going to get ahead of a resolution that hasn't been solidified yet, Justin. I just won't do it. So, look, a couple of big points here that I'd like to make. Our view about Assad and his future has not changed. We still believe that he cannot be a part of the future of Syria. No,
Right.
please let me finish.
but John, you say it's our view, it's our belief.
It is. That is our policy. It has not changed. But the secretary has also said, and you've heard him yourself
Yeah,
over
but at the same time as you say that, though, you talk about how long he stays and in what position he stays,
in what capacity.
in what capacity he stays, is
If you
has
wanna
not
solve
yet been
this-
decided. And what I'm trying to say is that the key word in those phrases is stays, not goes. No?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But look,
All
if
right,
you
I'm
come
done.
to look, Matt, if you come to stay at my house, my expectation is eventually you're going to go.
Well, you know what they say
Especially
about,
you. All right. So,
you know what they say about fish and guests, right?
yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. So we understand that that during at least part of this political transition process, I've said this before. There hasn't been decisions made about whether he leaves on day one, week one, month one. The secretary said that himself. But that he has to go, that he has to give up power, that he cannot be the leader of Syria going forward,
Okay.
is not in dispute in terms of American policy.
But I don't see anything in what you're doing, what's going to happen tomorrow, or what has happened to this point that says that. That's my only point, and I'll stop.
Okay, long process. This is the third gathering of the ISSG. I fully expect there will be more. I can't sit here and tell you straight up that tomorrow is going to solve all the Assad issues. There is still disparity inside the ISSG about Assad and his future. No question about that. Nobody's arguing about that. That is why this process is so important. You keep and it's fair for you to say, well, there's nothing in the process. I don't see it. Fair, but the process is still fairly nascent.
The process has
in
been
development.
Well, no, it's not. It's 3 years old. It's based on the
This
Geneva.
particular
I know, I
format
understand that,
is.
but there has been zero movement on Assad for 3 years.
And it's
so
not it's not like we're being complacent about it or we're happy about it.
John, just to follow up on this point, wouldn't you say that priorities have shifted or have changed since you guys took the position back in 2011? Secretary Clinton said that he has to go and his days are numbered and so on. With the rise of ISIS, that the priorities have actually changed, where
No,
Assad
I
might have
I
a
disagree.
role to play. I mean,
disagree.
considering that there are minorities and people and populations and communities that look to him as their
We
representative.
talked about this yesterday, and
Yeah.
I disagree. I mean, look, nothing's changed about our view that he can't be part of the future of Syria, that he needs to go. Nothing's changed about that. But you can't legislate diplomacy. It doesn't work like that. You don't sit down at a table with 19 other participants and say, and here's the day he has to go. That would throw sand in the gears of this process faster than anything, and it would stop. And the secretary, quite the contrary, wants to keep the momentum going. And the way you do that is you bring everybody in, all of the stakeholders, and you start to discuss these issues of contention. That's what diplomacy is about. It's about dealing with the areas in which you disagree. And so there's still disagreements. We know that. And the process continues.
So let me ask you this: was it a mistake, basically, to state this as a goal? Did it hamstring you in any way? Did it really hinder your process, sort of, constrained your elbow room and negotiation and so on by saying Assad must go, and stating this as a primary goal of the whole thing, rather than ending this?
I don't think-
rather than bringing about some sort of a political transition.
I don't think the secretary would say that it's hampered the discussion at all. I mean, every participant in the ISSG has a view on Assad, and not all of them are the same. Many other nations share our same policies and with respect to Assad and his role in the future of Syria. Others do not, but some of those others who do not have influence with the Assad regime and have interest in Syria. And so those views have to be countered in and factored into the discussions, and they are, and they will be. But you know, I don't want to leave you with the expectation that A, our position has changed on Assad, or B, that we're going to have this entirely wrapped up and sealed in a nice little Christmas gift, you know, tomorrow. It's just not going to work that way. There's still a lot more work that has to be done.
For tomorrow.